2020 Democratic presidential candidates are beginning to announce how much they raised in the third quarter of the year. Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders is so far leading the pack. He raised $25.3 million. He's followed by South Bend, Indiana Mayor Pete Buttigieg, who raised $19.1 million. California Senator Kamala Harris raised more than $11 million, while New Jersey Senator Cory Booker raised $6 million. So to discuss these figures, let's bring in Sarah Ewall-Weiss and Jack Thurman. Sarah is a CBS News political unit associate producer, and Jack is a CBS News 2020 campaign reporter. Sarah and Jack, thanks to both of you for being with us. So I'm going to start with you, Sarah. You've been tracking these fundraising efforts. What are your takeaways from the numbers we have so far? Because we're still waiting on some.
Well, I will say first and foremost, President Donald Trump has a massive war chest. What we found out just this evening was that he has $125 million from the third quarter of the year, more than $150 million cash on hand, and $300 million since the start of this year. So that is massive. One former President Obama campaign official told me that those are monstrous numbers and Democratic donors really need to step it up. However, they say comparing Obama to President Trump's numbers from 2011 is not really something you can do based on the time frame. In 2011, there were different rules and when the candidates got into the race. That said, Senator Bernie Sanders has a whopping number, $25 million, especially because he is doing this all through grassroots fundraising. It is the most that any Democratic candidate has raised in a quarter this election cycle so far. So that's pretty good. And what's really interesting to point out is that 99.9% of his donors can donate again, which means this will give him longevity moving forward into the end of the year and into early next year if they want to come back and donate a second time.
Those are impressive numbers. Jack, you were on a conference call with Booker's campaign manager about their fundraising goals. He called this a make or break moment for the campaign. What did he mean, and did it end up being a make moment?
Yeah, definitely. Booker's campaign manager said that in reference to 10 days ago when they set a $1.7 million fundraising goal to essentially say, look, we need to keep up that fundraising trajectory, change it a little bit in order to compete and expand the organization. Moving forward now to today, they said on this conference call they raised roughly over $2.1 million, and you're starting to see that on the call that they said that they will start to expand their staff now over the next 6 weeks. They said you could expect to see 40 new staff members in the early states or early voting states and in the campaign headquarters up in Newark, New Jersey. You could also see them make a six-figure investment in building out their email list and also launching a ballot access program.
And so have they set any concrete fundraising goals for the next month?
Yes, they were pretty clear as part of radical transparency, as they said that they would be setting a $3 million fundraising goal for October. And what's key here is that a few reporters on the call asked, if they're treating this as the same $1.7 million fundraising goal, where essentially if they would close up shop and Senator Booker would consider dropping his presidential bid if they don't meet that $3 million. And the answer was a very firm no, that they'll stay in it and that they will continue to expand their organization. And that the campaign manager also said on the conference call the rough budget for October was roughly $2.5 million, and that leaves an extra $500,000 to start, again, putting in those investments on the ground and also looking forward to expanding their Get Out the Vote program and also paid persuasion advertising later on.
Right. All right. I want to ask Sarah about Senator Kamala Harris's fundraising, because she's been pretty consistent and her campaign has made a point of pointing this out, that she's gotten about $12 million each quarter. But she really made a concerted effort to focus on fundraising this past quarter. So should we see a larger number?
Well, it really depends on who you ask. She raised $11.6 million according to her campaign this quarter. It was $11.8 the quarter before that. The first quarter, about $12 million. Some fundraisers I spoke with said as long as she's raising over $10 million at this stage, she's doing fine and it's all right. There's no reason to raise alarms. But with that said, Senator Harris is the senator of California, which is the most populous state in the U.S. and has almost 40 million people, which does raise the questions, Why isn't she raising more money? I spoke with a number of donors, some of whom are only giving to Senator Harris, others who are giving to Senator Harris as well as fundraising for other candidates as well. And they're not really jumping ship yet. They're looking at it and saying, we still have some time. The polling numbers have been changing. We'll see where this goes. But they do say she needs to step it up some, especially in online fundraising, which was interesting, not so much in the big donor fundraisers that she has been attending throughout the course of this campaign.
All right, interesting. Now, Jack, South Bend, Indiana Mayor Pete Buttigieg raised $19.1 million this last quarter. Now, that is lower than his second quarter contributions, but you report his team still sees these numbers as strong. Why is that?
Yeah, a campaign official told me earlier this afternoon that these are still strong numbers, and it was evident as well in a memo that the campaign manager put out this morning stating that the new fundraising numbers for the third quarter. The campaign manager wrote in the memo that they have the resources now, building off that really strong second quarter, to go the full distance in this race and really compete. And you see that in the third quarter as well, especially in the later months of September, later days of September, excuse me, that they really ramped up staffing. They opened a lot of field offices. They're just under to 400 staff members now, with a total of 227 staff members on the ground. And then also that they pointed out in the memo that came out this morning that essentially 182,000 new donors contributed to this campaign in the third quarter alone.
All right, tonight at midnight, Sarah, is the cutoff for candidates to qualify for the next debate. Remind us what the qualifiers are, and can we expect to see any surprises?
Not any surprises as of right now. So the qualifications for this debate are the same as they were for the September debate, which was 2% in 4 polls, national and state polls, from a list that the DNC gave out. They also need to have 130,000 donors from a number of states. What's different here is 2 candidates who were not in the September debate did qualify for the October debate, and that is Tom Steyer and Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard, who will be on that stage. That's October 15th in Ohio. But after this debate, the stakes go up a lot, and so do the qualifications. So far, I only count 5 candidates who've qualified for the November debate, and that's when they will need 165,000 unique donors, as well as 3% in 4 polls from the list from the DNC.
So a lot is riding on the October debates, because presumably whoever is really impressive on that debate stage might get a boost and make it to the next one.
If they can get a boost on the debate stage this go round, it will help them moving ahead. No candidate has indicated that they're not going to keep going after this at this point. Why would they? But yes, that is just something to definitely look forward to and see who goes up, who goes down, and where it all goes from here.
Great news. Great reporting, Sarah Ewall-Weiss and Jack Thurman. Thanks to both of you so much.